So either you work in the youth formation, or you work with senior players, or you work in professional football or in amateur football. Either you work in training in the mornings, in the afternoons, or in the evenings. One of the most important topics that I think that is not so well developed and discussed is for coaches to develop their management capabilities. Okay, and when I speak about management, it's not so much about the management of a team, the management of the locker room. No, I speak the management of their own lives. Okay, managing their agendas, managing their schedules, because I found that that was one of the most important pieces, or the most important tools that I had to develop to my toolbox, so that I was able to cope with everything that was happening in my life all through my career, independently of being just on the beginning or now working as a professional coach. But that was one of the most important things that nobody taught me. I had to learn by bumping with my head on the wall a lot of times, because when you work in youth formation, normally you have your own job or different kind of job, so that you can earn some money, because in youth formation you don't win enough to live. So you have to have different roles, different responsibilities, different jobs with different schedules, and it's really hard to manage everything together. Okay, and also I was lucky enough that when I started my crazy working schedule, I was still living with my parents, so I was young, and that gave me a bit of an advantage managing my schedules and managing everything that was happening at my life at the moment. But a lot of you start when you already live alone, or you already have a family, or you already have kids. Okay, and what I mean is that yes, sometimes it can be easier in one part, harder on the other, but the fact is that it's mandatory for you to know how to manage your life, for you to know how to rule your agenda, for you to be consistent enough on your routines so that you can be organized. Okay. Also, after I started to work in the professional level and living alone and having my own family, the situation was exactly the same. Okay, being a professional doesn't solve all your problems. Okay, don't think that earning more solves your organization problems, your schedule problems. Your day will always be 24 hours only. So even in that position, it's up to you to organize. It's up to you to create a routine. Okay, and that is something that I don't see discussed well enough. Okay, and in the overall, when those things don't go so right, that's a part of you not being focused. If things are not good at home because you're never at home, because you're always working, and because you don't schedule things in your agenda, you'll start to have problems at home. Those problems at home might reflect then on your training sessions, on the pitch, on the patience that you have with your players, being them adults or being them kids. If you are always working, you'll get to a point where you get too tired to think clearly. If you don't organize and if you don't train, your health will go down the drain. Okay, and we know that our lives as coaches are really active. We are always doing something. We are always speaking with somebody. We always have a meeting. We always have lunch. We always have a late night to watch an opponent. So it's really important that you try as much as possible to create routines. Okay, to first of all get an agenda. Yeah, I like to use a paper agenda because I like to write things and I like to physically grab them and to physically be able to open the agenda, to look at it, to write on it. But you can use online agendas, you can use Google Calendar, but create an agenda. Okay? It is something that on the beginning might be a little confusing, but create it. Create a routine of every time in the morning or late in night before you go to bed to look at it, to schedule your next day appropriately. Okay. Also try to create a day in the month or a day in the week where you program all the next week and you have an overview of what you are going to do. What are your schedules for next week? Your work schedules, the schedules that your kids get out of the school, the schedule that you are going to train or that you are going to study. Okay, try as much as possible the schedule that you're going to cook meals, the schedule that you're going to go to buy groceries. All that is major. Don't let things bump into your life so that you have to react. Okay, what you ask your players to do, to be proactive on games, to be aggressiveness, to to take responsibility over things. Try to do exactly the same with your life, and you will see that you'll get much more organized, and you feel that you are in control of all your life, and not just trying to be in control of what most of us try to do, which is, yeah, I have completely control over my training sessions, over my schedules at the club, over the way I deal with my players, but then outside of my life everything is ludicrous, everything is crazy, because I spend all my awakening hours planning and executing for my football life, for my professional career. And I can assure you that in the long term that will affect your performance as a coach, which then of course will affect your performance with your players. Okay, so rule your life, take responsibility for your actions, try to get an agenda. It will be really hard on the beginning for you to fulfill everything that you get there, to be able to reach and to always make it in the correct schedules, but it's a beginning. Okay, try to adapt as much as possible. Try not to be so hard on yourself when you cannot achieve those tasks like you plan it, but at least plan it. Okay, the same focus and the same mentality that you have to plan a session for your players, try to have it also in the way that you plan your life, that you plan your daily routines. And don't forget that in your daily routines you should put everything on it: your personal life, your professional life, your health, okay, your economical planning, everything should be there. Okay, so if you want more tips in regards to this, let me know. We'll speak a lot about this here. Okay, it's a matter that I really like, is how to manage your professional and personal life. It was something that I really developed along with my partner, which also works in sports, and we together were able to develop, because nobody is born with this kind of knowledge, and we are able and are still developing the best way possible to deal with all these situations. Okay, one extra detail is, I was telling you, don't think that when you get to a professional level that all those things get sorted. No, it's exactly the other way around. Okay, when you get to a professional level, the level of detail that you have to have on planning, on executing, the kind of pressure and responsibility that you have to achieve results, makes that you pressure even more, put more pressure on yourself, because you have to deliver, you have to achieve, you have to be sure of every detail in regards to everything that you do, and that makes that every minute that you are awakened, you might think that the best way to be prepared is to always be thinking about it, always be focusing on it, always be working on it. Okay, and I know nobody that can stay focused for so long, that can produce quality work for so many hours, and the fact that you are just doing a task for a long time doesn't mean at all that you are going to be effective on it. Okay, it's a lot better to do 1-2 hours of really focused work than to do 5 hours of completely of looking everywhere, always looking to your cell phone. That makes a huge difference. Okay, and with the senior level and the professional level comes another thing, which is you are much of your time away from home. You travel a lot, you are working a lot. Okay, so it's really important that again you have schedules for the things, so that you can fit your own life in your professional life, because as I told you, in the long term, you will lose a lot if you are not able to do it. You will have a lot of problems, or you will develop a lot of problems in your life if you are not able to balance it well, or to balance it as best as possible, because when you are always traveling, it's better than when you return home. You have time to be with your kids, with your pets, with your family, with your parents, doing the normal activities that every human being does, and that a lot of times, I know by experience because I have been there, we tend to forget that when we are outside of the club, we are also human beings, we are also normal people, and it's that balance in life that will then bring us performance in the club and working in our beloved, because we all do what we love in profession. That's something that's really good for us, but it's something that we should also focus on, is focus on your routines, focus on balancing things, so that we can perform in our beloved activity as football coaches as best as possible, and really being focused when we are there, when we are working. Okay, so try to be present in the moments where you are every time, whichever the moments are. Okay, and think about if you are organizing things well enough so that your life can fit your professional life. Okay, thank you. Really important, don't forget, we have the YouTube channel going on. Okay, we have the WhatsApp community running, and don't forget that all these things are for you. Okay, we are developing, we are creating this to help all the coaches out there. It's a really hard job. Again, I had to really manage everything as much as possible so that I was able to fit these really cool projects of helping the coaches out there to develop in different teams than what we normally see developed around the internet. I had to organize really much, so take advantage out of it, join the community, ask your questions, share your thoughts, okay, and together we will develop you as much as possible. We will study together, we will develop knowledge together, and I hope you take the best out of it. Okay, thank you.